I have many, many things that I would like to say. I'm going to tell it all just like it is, and I just can't wait to get started on this book.
Exceed $200,000 for his book.
Thank you very much.
I wish you well with it.
Thank you very much.
Writing is as good as fighting. When Muhammad Ali was young, he took everything with a wink, including the facts of his own life, said James Silberman, the editor-in-chief at Random House, which published Muhammad Ali's autobiography, The Greatest. And to make matters worse, many biographies on the legend's life seem to do the same. I found this out when obsessively fact-checking every moment of Muhammad Ali's life when researching for my upcoming film, G.O.A.T, Muhammad Ali's Blueprint to Greatness. This meant going through tons of information on the Louisville Lip, including a crap ton of books, which at times can make you feel like the more you read about the man who was once considered the most famous man in the world, the less you actually knew about him, if you weren't careful. So in this video, all of that research and writing that I did over months, and yes, while I use AI for the visuals, because I don't have a film crew, I still do all of the research and writing traditionally. All of that is gonna be to your benefit, because by the end of the video, you're gonna know exactly which biography is actually the best one to read for the most reliable and thorough account of Muhammad Ali's life, as I list the top 15 biographies on him. And I'm gonna tell you which one is actually the GOAT. It's probably not the one you're thinking. Now, to start off, let me introduce myself. My name is Tasha Caufield, aka TM Caufield, the writer and director behind the upcoming film G.O.A.T. And to be quite honest, my reason for creating this video isn't entirely selfless. It is my response to questions that I'm sure many viewers will have after watching the film, because if you've only read a handful of biographies or autobiographies or watched a few documentaries or interviews, some of the information is sure to contradict what you've come to believe as fact. To be clear, I don't think that most biographies and documentaries and things like that are intentionally misleading. Well, outside of maybe some people. I think a lot of them just have created a different picture because they might leave out certain information and, and things get a little distorted in that way. For instance, and I'll limit the examples that I share because I can be here all day pointing out inconsistencies across biographies and even within this own story that I'm about to share. So I'll just share, a couple examples with you. Most people who are somewhat familiar with Muhammad Ali's story have come to believe that Joe Martin introduced him to boxing. After him and a friend, according to many biographies, him and his friend Johnny Willis, according to The Greatest, and his brother and him and a friend, according to his brother's biography, my brother Muhammad Ali, stumbled across his gym when looking for a cop after his bike got stolen. But what if you just watched this interview with Muhammad Ali?
How did you come to take up boxing?
Well, I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen and my cousin was a boxer. He wasn't too successful, but he boxed. And he told me that he would train me if I ever catch the guy that, how kids think, if I ever caught the guy that stole my bicycle, well, I would know how to fight, I could defend myself. Well, anyway, he took me to the gym and he quit later, but I kept it up.
See? So if you just watched that Burt Sugar narrated documentary, then you would come away just thinking about, about his cousin, and that would be the story you'd go on to tell. And then you watch my film and you like, she got it twisted and I got to read your angry comment. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna do this. So I'm not gonna take it personal, I'm here to educate. So that's what you would think. And then if you read others that just talk about Joe Martin and don't say anything about a cousin, then if someone introduces a cousin, you're like, what they talking about? And I gotta check you, it's Joe Martin, It's only when you read, man, I'll be salty. It's only when you read Rockman, his brother, and shout out to Black is Best for teaching us how to pronounce his brother's name. Rockman's biography, My Brother Muhammad Ali, that you find out that it was his cousin and was the one who accompanied them to the gym first, to Joe Martin's gym. The brother lets us know that that's what the connection is, and his brother says that it was his young cousin who kept them interested in the sport when they might have been otherwise distracted by childish things, as he put it. So that's a situation where you gotta put the pieces together by reading multiple ones. But sometimes someone is just not telling the truth. As in the infamous case of what happened to Muhammad Ali's gold medal. In Jonathan Eag's biography, Ali, A Life, he firmly states that not only did Muhammad Ali lose the gold medal, but his brother helped him look for it. Very specific stuff. And then his brother adamantly takes that same claim, calls that claim out, and is like, that's not true. I was there with my own eyes on the 2nd Street Bridge. I watched my brother toss it into the river. Someone's biography is just not telling the truth. Eag then goes on though. He offers photographic evidence. He says, I saw a picture of Muhammad Ali holding the gold medal, 1963. So yeah, he wasn't supposed to have the medal, it was supposed to be gone by that time. To be quite honest, I saw the same picture Eag saw in the research, but I've come across a lot of those type of pictures from photographers that had the wrong dates attached to them. Just the wrong dates. So without a newspaper in the background with the date on the newspaper, or something invented in 1960 that wasn't out before, so like, it wouldn't hold up in court. Ultimately, I think one biographer got the truth out of Muhammad Ali, and in this case, I'm not talking about Rockman or Eag. So stay tuned. And finally, there are those odd times where things that should be well-documented facts just aren't. Like, did Muhammad Ali graduate at the very bottom of his class, 157th student out of 157 students, as you would read in the Muhammad Ali Reader? Or did he just graduate close to the bottom of his class, as you would read in Thomas Hauser's Muhammad Ali, His Life and Times, him being the 376th student out of 391 students, which is, well, when you read the Reader, it could be just tongue-in-cheek. Claim is from an article that was an interview with his friend Gene Kilroy, and he could have just been saying, you know, he graduated like 150, so he could have been, because Hauser's claim is accompanied by Ali's grades and test scores and the months Ali wasn't in school and just all this other information around his education. So I'm more apt to believe that, but then also even his amateur record, his amateur boxing record. Muhammad Ali's autobiography says he won 161 bouts out of 167. Thomas Hauser's biography says he had 108 bouts. Jonathan Eag's A Life says that while Joe Martin said he had 106 bouts, he thinks that the best estimate is 82-8. Who knows? No facts. No facts.
No facts.
So, how do I maintain my growing reputation as a trusted filmmaker in this world of no facts? Well, for one, I don't pretend to have the facts, pretend to know them or make them up as I go. As they say, if you want to rewrite history, become a historian, kind of easy to do if I wanted to. Nor do I present things in a way that suggests that I do, which I must admit is a lot easier when you're making a film because there's more creative license than if you're writing a biography. So I can present to you the essence or meaning of an event, opposed to focus on who got the date right or wrong or things like that. And most importantly, I just present the information directly to the audience in an unfiltered way. So without further ado, here are the top 15 biographies, and in some cases autobiographies, on Muhammad Ali's life, ranked from the greatest to the GOAT. And I mean that, seriously. We're starting with the greatest, okay? I have no desire to arbitrarily pit apples against oranges. They all have their strengths and their weaknesses. But as promised, by the end, I will give you the one book to rule them all. If you could only read one, which one I think will give you the best, most reliable, thorough, all of that information on Muhammad Ali. And we're calling it the GOAT. Let's get it. All right, the greatest, My Own Story by Muhammad Ali with Richard Durant. So with some of its more entertaining scenes being discredited, like the confrontation with the motorcycle gang from the diner and the Atlanta cabin shootout. The Greatest is still not only a hell of a good read, but as David Remnick said in his book King of the World, it's still considered a book with a great deal of truth in it. I don't think I found one biography that didn't include facts from The Greatest in their book. And remember, I'm using the word facts loosely. So it's a must read for those who are researching Muhammad Ali's life. In this book, you get a lot of closed door information into moments in his life and also his thoughts. And you also get things like the transcripts between him and Frazier in their Cadillac ride. It's just got a lot of insider information. It's his story. It's, you know, it's his own story from his own words. Those who are familiar with the backstory of how this book was written, and you know, and that's a whole movie unto itself. So that they're getting those jokes. You might not be, but I recommend it. I might have even made it the GOAT if it weren't for the fabrications. They kind of cripple it and give people trust issues and stuff. But it's just you got to read it. It's a classic. And speaking of King of the World by David Remnick. If there's one thing that's obvious about this biography is that not only is Remnick familiar with Muhammad Ali, but he's familiar with the whole ecosystem around him. So with this book, you get a lot of information about other boxers and boxing history, including black boxing history, which is a big part of the first 10 minutes of G.O.A.T, Muhammad Ali's Blueprint to Greatness, which is out right now. It's called Part 1. Right now it's the original version. But you get a lot of information about that, the mafia, Elijah Muhammad, who was known as Elijah Poole as well. You get Marcus Garvey. You just get the whole thing in a nice, concise way. And he also cites sources a lot of the times while he's writing, so which is really helpful to, you know, help find him more reliable. For example, he tells a story that Martin Luther King Jr. would tell about Joe Louis, a Save Me Joe Louis execution story, which has, you know, now been found out to be largely inaccurate. But you don't hold it against Remnick, but because he's not just telling the story as if, you know, it's just him telling it. He's saying it's from Martin Luther King's book. So he just presents he just knows a lot, and he presents it all in a really reliable way. The only other person who does it even better than David Remnick is Thomas Hauser and his biography, Muhammad Ali, His Life and Times. Made with the cooperation of Muhammad Ali, this book allows the people who were involved in Muhammad Ali's life to tell his story in their own words, a la a documentary. So we get the information straight from the horse's mouth, and Hauser is able to avoid any fake news in that way. It's actually quite smart. And he creates a narrative, you know, by framing the who, what, when, and where, and you know, and giving us facts around the participants' interviews. But he doesn't do it in a way that's overly biased or anything. It's just straight factual stuff. And you're able to come away with your own conclusions, see how controversial Ali was and all that without any influence from the author, which, as we will soon see, is not easy for every biographer. So Hauser knocks it out of the park. It's just, you know, we're just getting all the information on Muhammad Ali straight from the horse's mouth. And in doing such, even, you know, us seeing unflattering sides of Ali and everything, I think that's probably why he, at the end of the day, became Ali's most trusted biographer. As evident in Hauser's follow-up many years later after Ali's death, Muhammad Ali, A Tribute to the Greatest. Since his Life and Times was written in 1992, this one consists of a lot of the essays Hauser had written over Muhammad Ali over the years, as well as information from a more older and reflective Muhammad Ali. Here we also get the answer, in my humble opinion, to what happened to the gold medal. In this book, he is talking to older, wiser Muhammad Ali that's way deeper in his faith and, you know, living a quiet life. And they're talking about faith, and Hauser asks him to swear to Allah. Woo! Swear to Allah. He has him do it twice. Because at first Ali was still trying to be on that beat, you know. But he was like, come on now, come on, well, let's do it. We're friends, it's been decades. And so, you know, Ali finally says the answer, and he gives it in a way that is pretty obvious. I think it's the closest we'll get to a deathbed confession of what happened. And you also get some juicy details like names involved in the eye incident in the fight against Sonny Liston, which is also discussed by a very credible source in My View from the Corner, A Life in Boxing by Angelo Dundee. This autobiography from the champ's famous former trainer spends most of its time talking about Muhammad Ali. And from his view, we get biographical information on Muhammad Ali's pro years that is so thorough and reliable that it could stand alone as a solid biography on itself. It's a must read for any serious Ali researcher or boxing aficionado. It's just well done. And it's facts from opinions like these that take precedent over biographers. I always prioritize the people who were actually involved in events. They were there. And in cases like this, you're not only just getting eyewitness testimony, you're getting the accomplice's confession a lot of times. And that's why you'll see more family members and, you know, people who are directly involved in his boxing world over some general biographers on this list. But that doesn't mean that books like Man of Destiny and Black is Best or things like that aren't worth your time. They are well worth your time. But with biographers, you just can't get the sort of insight that you can with people who were directly involved in there and interactive and a part of the person's life. You get details, like even the questions Muhammad Ali asked when he was a teenager and met Angelo Dundee pre-Olympics about how to train and things like that. And he writes boldly too, which is really cool. Like Ferdy Pacheco, The Doctor, which is a book we'll discuss in a second. He goes there, he talks about the mob influence. Sometimes I'm scared for him. Like he talked like a man with immunity. So to get the skinny, you gotta read My View from the Corner by Angelo Dundee. It's another hell of a read. And speaking of biographers, let's hop back over to their offerings and discuss Jonathan Eags' Ali, A Life. It's a big book, thick, real thick. And the thickness is not in vain. It's actually quite comprehensive. You'll get things like Ali's family history. It's got a nice index because it includes so much from so many other books and, you know, interviews and things like that. It's written after Ali's death, so, you know, that's a wrap. Similar with Rahman in that date situation, and also with the FBI files already coming out, but you don't have to put too much stock into waiting to read books that post FBI files, because you don't really get much information other than what we all know, which is that they were being watched. But anyway, you know, it's very comprehensive. It's a Hollywood favorite and has been promoted as the go-to source. However, and I'm going to get in and out of this conversation really quickly because I get absolutely zero pleasure in discussing things that I'm not that fond of, since a lot of the information included is based on exclusive information Eag was told in interviews that he gave. It's hard to know how reliable a lot of it is. For instance, you have the information that he acquired, and if you read the index, you find out it was from a former schoolmate called Marjorie, who said that Ali would dress like a girl sometimes in school. And Eag had, you know, he just says it in the book as a fact, and you hear about it in, you know, he talks about it in the Kim Burns documentary as fact, and he's just going around, and, you know, all of a sudden Ali is kind of like a little baby cross-dresser. And that might very well be true. To me, I honestly believe it. I think it's something he, you know, did wear the purse, he had some lipstick, whatever, for kicks when he was younger. I think that's something that he probably did. However, I would have liked that stuff like that to have been presented a little bit more like according to a former schoolmate, you know, written in the text, opposed to him saying it as if it's common knowledge. He does a lot of that kind of stuff. I prefer the biographers who cover themselves a little bit more when they're the only ones making a certain claim. So there's things like that where as a filmmaker, I didn't feel comfortable including in the film because if, you know, I don't know Marjorie. Okay, I don't know her. I don't want to keep spreading something that, in my opinion, may or may not be true. You got another classmate to co-sign on this, like something. But yeah, we don't just take one person's word over here if we can help it. I try to minimize the risk of spreading misinformation. If it's something super valid, then I'll throw in a allegedly. I'll do something. But also there's the portrayal of Muhammad Ali's father that Ig has. In Man of Destiny, the biographer says that he believes that biographers should state their intentions up front and their beliefs up front, things like that. And I think a lot of his writing style would have been best served by some sort of disclaimer in the way he approaches things. But his portrayal of Muhammad Ali's father is very different from the portrayal that Muhammad Ali and Rahman give, and it's very unbalanced in the sense that you hear a lot of negativity, but you don't hear any positivity in the sense that you don't get all of the information how Muhammad Ali's father positively shaped his life, told him to confront his fears, told him he was going to be heavyweight champion of the world, went to his games, and just, a lot of the philosophy he instilled in him, and just all the, if you just went by Ig, it would look bad, like just all bad. I'm not saying, every parent has their issues, but goddamn. We almost got a Joe Jackson around this movie. All right, so yeah, so he does a little bit of that. You don't really see how Cassius Clay helped shape Ali in any positive way. And furthermore, a lot of times it feels like Ig is using Muhammad Ali's story to campaign for the dangers of boxing, opposed to just giving us Muhammad Ali's story, just straight without a lot of preachiness around it. So, if you're just kind of looking for more of a straight biography like on Muhammad Ali and his life, and not so much for someone, who wants to show you how dangerous boxing can be quite often, I don't know if you'll really care for those parts of the book. However, my biggest issue with Ig's book comes from his statement that Ali regretted saying, "I ain't got no problem with them Viet Cong." Okay, Ig expresses great surprise at Ali saying that, and then he just leaves. He leaves it at that, which could cause viewers to feel puzzled as well. It's like, wow, this super famous, quote by Ali that set the whole, Vietnam thing in motion, and it's such a big part of his legacy. He's saying he regrets it? What? Word? Now, if Ig had included the full statement, which, let me adjust my glasses, which Ali made in Sport Interview with Jose Torres, found in the Ali Reader, page 214. My biggest mistake I ever made was when I made the statement that I had no quarrels with the Viet Cong. I made it too early. It was right, but I should have said it later. If you include the full statement, Ig's portrayal of such a big moment in Ali's story would have been less confusing, because all you get with Ig's book is that Ali said he regretted making the statement, "I have no quarrel with the Viet Cong." Paraphrasing, of course. And that's just weird to me. Like, why wouldn't, because then you think he regretted saying that. You guys get it. I don't gotta explain to you why you want to include him saying, "I believe what I said was right. I felt I should have said it later." All in all, though, while it has those drawbacks, in-depth research on Ali, I think, absolutely read Ali A Life. Just don't rely on it exclusively. And speaking of the Muhammad Ali Reader, which is edited by Gerald Early, who has a moment in the film, I had the pleasure of being introduced to this book through the comedian Dave Chappelle, and he was spot on. It's 100% worth it. It is so good. It's got tons of articles, essays, and interviews on and about and with Muhammad Ali that were taken, that are taken from back in the day when he was in action. So you're getting more of the real-time perspective of Muhammad Ali, and it also clarifies a lot of things that other biographers, like we just spoke about, included in their books, but now we get more of the context of them. It's a coffee table book, but it's also a must-read coffee table book. Now, while the Muhammad Ali reader might give us a glimpse into how Muhammad Ali was viewed in real time, My Brother, Muhammad Ali, the definitive biography written by Rahman Ali, gives us the exclusive VIP front row seat. Written by his longest and most trusted companion, his brother Rahman. And I'm not just saying that, that he's his most trusted. Ali actually said that himself when he wanted his water to be watched before his fight against Sonny. It would be nothing more than a silent protest not to read this book. Like, if someone was with me literally in like 80% of my pictures and they wrote a book about me, that would be weird not to read it if you want to know about the person. You gotta value and prioritize. Outside of the gold medal controversy that I spoke about earlier, it's a solid biography. And if I could only recommend 3 biographies on Muhammad Ali's life, this would definitely be one of them. If you read the article version of this video, which I'll put a link to in the description, you probably can guess right now which one is my #1 pick. But I'll tell you that at the end. Don't worry, you'll know. It's solid, and despite Rahman's lifelong dedication and love, and obvious love and devotion for his brother, oh, if we could all be so lucky, he still goes into what he considers his brother's shortcomings and the criticisms and all that kind of stuff. It's not just like this gushing thing. He presents a full portrait of the man. So I definitely recommend it. It's a perspective that Ali fans especially will be very happy to have and will treasure. And if you can't get enough of this perspective, you'll also want to check out That's My Brother, Muhammad Ali, My Life on the Undercard by Rahman Ali as well. It's the older, less polished version of a biography that Rahman put out. And I say biography because even though it's technically an autobiography of Rahman, per the title, he spends most of the time talking about Muhammad Ali. So it's really kind of a biography still. Here you get a lot of the little details about their lives, like where they were given their Muslim names and where they met Malcolm X. And as a filmmaker, I get things that are priceless, like his dad wearing cowboy boots and his dad wearing 3 gold rings on each hand and singing I Did It My Way. And here you also get pictures of the family paintings. And the editor was also even smart with including transcripts from interviews with Rahman that he included in the book, like the transcripts for the stolen bike incident and stuff like that, to help give more reliability to the book in that sense. So I recommend it for those wanting even more of that perspective. But if you're looking for just like the, a good solid biography, his book, My Brother, Muhammad Ali, that's the one to read. It's dope. Now, another biography written by someone who is also qualified to give us exclusive VIP information on Muhammad Ali's life is At Home with Muhammad Ali by Hannah Ali, written by one of Muhammad Ali's daughters with his wife, Veronica. This autobiography on Hannah / biography on Muhammad Ali is like a Barbara Walters interview where you get to find out what it's like to be, well, at home with Muhammad Ali. In this book, you get intimate and exclusive information that you can't really get anywhere else, like Muhammad Ali finding out that he had 2 half-brothers at his father's funeral and him putting a request in to take on a second wife and things like that. And Hannah Ali asking Michael Jackson when he was visiting their house why he talks like a girl is worth the price of the book alone. Okay, because Michael does answer her. But it's not just an excellent biography. Along with Healing, A Journal of Tolerance and Understanding by Muhammad Ali and Thomas Hauser, Ali on Ali, Why He Said What He Said When He Said It, and More Than a Hero by Hannah Ali which are all 3 quick, under an hour reads with biographical information that includes quotes and quick thoughts. We get a gateway into the deepest book on Ali, which I'll get to in a minute, but I wanted to mention these 3 books because they are noteworthy. With More Than a Hero, you get things like a college lecture Ali gave when he was in exile, and his answer to really hard questions Hannah would give him, like, why did you allow so many thieves in your life? And while it's definitely a coffee table book, Ali on Ali, why he said what he said when he said it, is crucial for especially someone like me who wants to fact check quotes because the internet has so much paraphrasing. So it's nice to have a book from them that says this is what he said, opposed to, you know, all of the misquotes. And furthermore, Healing is a great book for young people especially, or anybody who is looking for help in cultivating tolerance, and is such a big part of Muhammad Ali and Thomas Hauser's joint ministry that I wanted to make sure that I did highlight it because, you know, that's kind of important. But now we're going deep, and there isn't a deeper biography on Muhammad Ali than his autobiography, The Soul of a Butterfly, Reflections on Life's Journey, written by him with his daughter Hannah. In this book, this is where we get to, as the title says, the soul of Ali, his spirit. He discusses his choices and his reasonings and the purpose behind a lot of the things he did, a lot of key moments in his life while he tells his story. This is where you go if you want to know what was going on in his head and why he did what he did. And if you're not a big reader, you'll also find comfort in the fact that it's a pretty quick read. You can eat it with a biscotti in the morning and some tea and finish it by lunch. So this is where you go for that good soul juicy stuff. So now on the opposite side of deep is Freddie Pacheco's ass. All right, we got this biography, Muhammad Ali, A View from the Corner, written by his pretty much career-long ringside doctor. Number one, his writing ability is so strong, he could have had a bestseller in the fiction department, I'm sure. And the tabloids would have loved him. Okay, he's just juicy. Of course, it's helpful to have the perspective of a top athlete's physician on his health, and Pacheco goes into that too. He discusses his health and choices that were made and things that were done and stuff like that. But he goes beyond that. And he gives us, you know, a lot of the insider information as if you're, you know, because he's in the room, he's there. So we get the locker room talk, we get Ali's affairs, we get confusion that Ali would have over which way was east when he's trying to pray. I mean, it's a completely unserious perspective in some ways, but it's also very serious in other ways. But he goes there. He talks about unfavorable aspects of Ali that you're not going to get from a lot of other people in his camp. So if you want even more of a well-rounded view of him, you get a lot of that from Pacheco. And he also confirms the Atlanta cabin shootings, not in the way the greatest presents it though, but in the way he experienced it. So that's really helpful to have. And like a previous biographer that we talked about, he also has a strong belief that he's selling. In this situation, it's that Ali's success was based on luck. And that's the premise that he kind of has. But in his book, it's a lot more of an easier perspective to tolerate from the author of a book because it's in the title. This is my view. He's not presenting it as an official biography or anything. I mean, it also helps that he only mentions it a couple of times. He's not just like hammering at it all. You know, it's really like, all right, already. You also get, you know, just a lot of insider information. It's a solid biography. It's really good. It's really, really well written. And I really recommend it, especially if you love tea. Now, before we get to the GOAT of them all, the which one is the one to rule them all, I want to give you a quick recommendation, a bonus book, if you will, and that is Bundini, Don't Believe the Hype by Todd Snyder. I mostly perused this book looking for insight into the hype man, the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee originator, the guy who held up Ali's spirit, and according to many like Angelo Dundee, was largely responsible, they think, for a lot, maybe not a lot, but some of Ali's wins. I would have killed for a biography, by the way, from Howard Bingham, who was Ali's best friend. But Bundini's book didn't disappoint. You know, I got to, thanks to his biographer who talked to his son, I got more details around Ali, and also the bedside goodbye that Ali had with Bandini was particularly touching. It's a good book for Ali fans. If you can't get enough, I recommend it. Now, the moment has come. You've waited long enough. Which one? Tasha, I can only read one. I ain't got all that time, you guys. Oh, I don't have all that. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat it because I don't like how I look in that sentence. So the one I would recommend you read, if I can only recommend one, is Muhammad Ali, His Life and Times by Thomas Hauser. It's just got everything. Okay, it's just got everything you would want in something like this. Since we don't have a 100% reliable autobiography on Muhammad Ali that's thorough, this is the closest we're gonna get, because this is the information straight from both Muhammad Ali and all of the players, or most of the players that were there when it happened. These are the people who are qualified to tell you what happened. Even if they're lying, it's the closest we'll have to the truth. Okay, if they said that's what happened in that room, that's what we got, that's the closest we're gonna have. Not with somebody who was outside of the room set. It's great, and all of the narrative structure, all of the who, what, when, where, how it's presented to us is done in an unbiased way. The author is not taking advantage of any influence because they have our ear like some people do. It's just perfect. It's perfect. He did it right. He did it right. But while these 15 books are all incredible, nothing can capture the energy of a man like Muhammad Ali better than the magic of cinema. That's why for over a year, I have been crafting the feature-length film G.O.A.T, Muhammad Ali's Blueprint to Greatness. I have taken everything that I have learned about Muhammad Ali from a gazillion different sources, not just these books, and I have used that information to create a definitive visual experience of the greatest that we can all learn from. This film covers everything from the cradle to the grave, which, trust me, is not easy to do in 2 hours. We're talking about Muhammad Ali's life. Okay, but I did it. You will not want to miss this cinematic presentation of Ali's life, especially the way I tell it. Right now you can catch the original part 1, first 10 minutes of the film. I'll put a link to it below in the description. The trailer will be out in about a month, and the feature film will be out this fall 2026. So subscribe, like this video, turn on notification bells. Just make sure that you get to watch this because you won't want to miss it. Join me on this journey of greatness. It will be well worth the trip. All right, this is TM Caufield. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.